Hello, everybody. Welcome to StraightA. Dawson here.
Ooh, strengthen.
How did
Ben's over us. Ben is the person that's over the whole group at this point. He's like, fuck all y'all. Uh, we are back again with a great another edition of NFL Power Rankings going into Week 8. And after how well last week went, I'm feeling on top of the world. I feel like my power rankings are the power rankings on YouTube, and everybody else is just haters, like big haters here. I'm the only one that's ever right, and all my takes are correct. That's
Well, I just hate you.
emotional damage?
because this week I'm not taking some shit. All right, anger meter is gone. I'm calm and collected and ready to give out my facts of why these teams are there. And you know what?
Anger meter is gonna be back because
No,
I'm gonna yell at him.
It's gonna be real. It's gonna
If
be
the
like real
Jets
quick.
aren't number one, you're getting yelled at.
you know what? You'd be surprised who my number one team is because y'all might hate them actually.
It's gonna be the 49ers, and I swear to God.
Three things I'm saying to address all three of you fuckers in your critiques. All right, shoo. The Patriots. I'm not saying about this week. I'm saying the previous weeks. I think the Patriots are a little overhated. From all the things I've seen, they've played tough teams. They've looked bad, yes, and they have gotten destroyed. But they also have a good team scheme, and this week kind of showed that they are not just fucking trash, even without their great players, and even when they did lose their great players, they are still picking up the pieces there for the Patriots. And so overhating
I
the
guess they got
Patriots.
the toughest schedule in football this year.
And after seeing them play against the Bills in just a calm and collected format, I think the Patriots are fine where they are. You could maybe put them a little bit lower, kind of with the clump of teams with them, but I'm solid that they are not a bottom 8 team. I'm going to say that right now. Now, which fucker's next? Texans. Ben, that's your main thing. I'm giving Giants to Trathan just because I want to yell at each one of you individually. Texans. Ben. I love the Texans. They look good. They're young. They're feisty. They're winning games. They're 3-3. Love them. They're too young and I think too inconsistent. CJ Stroud looks good, 100%. I'm going to agree with that. His stats are pretty dang good, pretty consistent. But the receiving core was trash before this year, and somehow they just kind of miraculously became good, like individually, throughout a couple games. And they haven't had the toughest games so far. They played close against good, mediocre teams. But they also, coming into this year, had low expectations. They're building themselves up, but they're not going to keep this consistency throughout the whole year. That's why I still think they're still in the near bottom 8 conversation. Trathan, the
Will
Giants.
be consistently better than the Giants.
Now, this is the one I'm passionate about the most. The New York Giants were a solid playoff team last year. Very solid playoff team last year. A lot of people would say they over exceeded expectations because their coaching scheme was good. The run game looked good. Danny Dimes looked amazing. And yes, they've had a bad start. They started at 8, and now they're way lower. They are like way lower than they were, 100%. But they had high expectations. You can't just fault them for a couple bad weeks. This week they came back and showed, hey, maybe we can kind of do something. Maybe we can actually win some games and get this flow back on the go. They are not a bottom 8 team, 100%. The Giants.
We're halfway through the season. They've won 2 games, and yeah,
And they also have the toughest schedule.
they're a little below expectations. Won 2 games through half the season. Yeah, I don't know. Shut the hell
They
up.
didn't even look good in their win against Washington, who's a bad team.
Jalen Hyatt was their only prize spot.
Y'all can say whatever you want. I did some deep diving with myself this week and said, am I going to move these teams? I texted in the chat saying y'all broke me on this power rank because I was looking at them. I was like, do I need to drop the Giants like this much? Do I need to move the Texans? Do I need to move the
How
Patriots?
about you deep dive and find some good power rankings?
You can deep dive and find these nuts. How about that?
Emotional damage.
And that's what I'm going to say with these teams. I am solid where they are. I feel very confident in my ability in saying that the Giants will pick up steam and be more and more solid and show off what they can do. I think the Texans are going to move up, but they are still unpredictable in my eyes. And the Patriots are just a team that either gets trashed on or is going to win out these really tough games. Straight into the point. Sharing my screen now. NFL Week 8 Power Rankings. Texans were on bye week, so they didn't move. Just they call them out right now. Patriots 1 +1. obviously they still have a lot of things.
I'll take it.
They still had a lot of things going against them, so I only give them a +1. And the Giants did move down 1 despite a win because they didn't look great, and I do think that the Steelers looked good enough to really jump them. That's my 3 initial comments for those 3 teams, so we don't have to spend the fucking next 30 minutes trashing on me. If y'all want to get your comments out now, I won't respond, but each one of you can get a go.
Trying to find something I hate.
I already found it.
Go for it.
So, last week, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Last week, New York Giants lost, correct?
Yes. 9-14 against the Bills.
You moved them up, correct?
Correct.
So the Dolphins lose a highly controversial game against who you believe is the number 1 team, and they drop 3.
Yes, because the competition for top 8 is way harder than the competition for 17 through 24. The top 8 teams, depending on how they play. So the Dolphins, actually, I think this is Ben that told me this, or that I talked to you about. I forgot. I talked to somebody about this. The Dolphins have not beat a team that has been considered good this year. They have gotten beaten by the 2 good teams they played, and they have gotten kind of trashed on. This last game was better for them than the Bills game, but both games weren't the best for their performance against highly touted defenses. And honestly, I did put them at 7 originally, but I decided to drop them below the Jags because at least the Jags can consistently compete with the tough teams, while the Dolphins showed they can't. And that's two games now, while the Jags have also had, I believe, 2 games. The Bills game, which they won, and then the Chiefs game, which they were down by 8 points in a good defensive showing. And plus, the 3 teams that surpassed them, I believe it was the Ravens, the Cowboys, and Jags, all look good. Wait, no, Cowboys were on bye week, right? I believe the Cowboys were on bye week.
They still moved up.
Yeah, still moved up because the Dolphins look not good against a good team. Well, at least the Cowboys.
But the Texans don't move on a bye week. I don't know the Cowboys.
Did the Raiders do you believe the Raiders deserve the move below them? Or the Titans? Titans were also
I didn't watch the Raiders game.
Because the Raiders already dropped enough. I guess I could have dropped them below the Texans. I guess that could have moved them up. But when you have a bye week and you're around teams that can surpass you, like in the first 2 columns, you're going to get moved up or moved down, depending on how well the teams around you did. Who's another team that was on the bye week? I'm trying to pick them out. Where's another team that moved on the bye week? All the bye weeks are blending into my fucking mind at this point.
Bengals.
Stayed the same.
They didn't move.
That was mostly by the math adding up for the Seahawks, Lions, and Chargers.
Yeah.
So.
You just pointed out my thing.
Which one?
Why?
Why where?
9 through 12. Why? The Seahawks beat the Cardinals 20-10.
Seahawks moved
Every
up.
other
Okay.
team,
Yeah, go ahead.
every other team in those 3 lost to someone in the top 8. Like, very badly, but they're the top 8. They lost to the, we'll say, 30th team from last week. They beat the 30th team 20-10, and they move up 3.
So I did debate.
How?
I did debate this, but last week I had some notes about like each of the teams and where I thought they were kind of compared to other teams. Seahawks were right behind the Bengals for me, so them winning just kind of put them right above them. Chargers didn't look great, to be honest with you. They kind of sold in the second half a little bit, or no, was the first half. They sold.
Somebody else stalled in the second half too, but that was college football.
And then the Lions, actually originally I had the Lions at 9, but after the spanking they got, I couldn't. Honestly, I wanted to put them lower, but I couldn't bring myself to bring them below the Bengals. And I couldn't bring myself to bring them below the Chargers. So I kind of compromised.
I just think the Lions had a bad week. I think they'll bounce back.
Which still, it's a -1. I still concede that. The Seahawks by
Oh no,
proxy.
I'm completely content. Honestly, if it was me, I would have dropped them to 11 and moved the Bengals up, because they played piss poor. But I was just saying that I believe the Lions will bounce back.
That's a valid one. Ben, what's your comment?
Chargers, I don't know what the hell they're doing still in the top 14.
Yeah. It's
I
valid.
don't like completely mind this. My only comments are, I swear to God, the Texans could win the Super Bowl, and Dawson would still
Dawson would put them at the 25 through
put
32.
him at like 17. He won't fucking move it. He won't.
No, he
They'll
won't.
move him.
They won't make it out of that last. They could win out the rest of the year.
Chargers are awful. They're awful. Why are they at 12?
They're not awful. No. They're not awful. Their coaching is awful.
Which makes them awful.
They're playing awful.
Yeah, the Chargers at 12 are
I'm
not
fine
great.
with Minnesota being there despite their record because they actually have some.
They're actually like.
The Chargers are just terrible. That is the most abysmal team I think I've seen outside of the Giants.
Yet the Giants are still 18.
They at least had some sort of expectation. Of course, the Broncos and Bears and Panthers are all
Cardinals.
terrible. We did not expect any of them to do well.
Well,
Chargers are pitiful.
they expected the Broncos to do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I expect them to do better than they currently are doing. Yeah, I'd say that. I don't know where they were originally ranked on this tier list, but they weren't too high though, because they did not have a good last season. Yeah, Chargers at 12. The comment on that, it's not it feels weird putting them with the record there, and I do agree the Vikings probably play better, probably more consistently, especially now, even without Justin Jefferson. I feel like the Vikings are finding their footing, honestly, without relying on Justin Jefferson, which is kind of good for them to maybe when they come
Thank
back.
God, because I got Jordan Addison in fantasy.
Yeah.
Bye, Shoe.
Yeah, Shu just said Wi-Fi cut out. So he's gonna he sent me his pic, so he won't be here for the rest of the video.
I mean, I really have no other comments aside from those two teams. I'm fine with this in general. Besides, Texans still being too low, but they weren't going to move anyway. Rangers are probably in that like 20 range at this point, and the Giants are in that 30 range.
You know, I'll tell you what we'll vow to do. Because at this point, I think we got into the point in the season where my disagreements in terms of everything has now reached a point where maybe we're all disagreeing too much. What we will officially do is for week 9, and I'll state this now, after the week 8 games.
This is what we talked about?
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and state this. My power rankings will be adjusted after week 9 or week 8, depending on what we decide, based on the video we do where we all consensusly put in place the teams, and we'll make our own power rankings, and at that point I'll readjust from there, and we'll showcase all of that. So basically the power rankings for whatever we decide will be based on a video we already recorded, which we...
So let me ask this.
Yes.
So let's say we go and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 2 people have the Eagles at 1,
Mm-hmm.
2 people have them at 2. That's a 1.5 on average. And then let's say 2 people have the Chiefs at 1 person have 2, 1 person have 3. I don't know the exact average of that. I think it's somewhere between 1.66 and 1.75.
Yeah.
So would that mean that like you get the averages of what we rank them?
What we'll probably do,
and then you put them in order of that?
What we'll probably end up doing is for visual sake and changing it, we'll have to do a tier list. And what we'll do is we'll agree to a tier ranking, and then from there we'll kind of readjust based on that like ranking. So from left to right will be like most to the best to worst, and we'll kind of just try to agree in that tier list as well. And we'll just adjust as we go. I'm not gonna pressure myself too much on trying to make the exact tier list we all want, but as long as we get them in the same grouping, I feel like we can all finally start agreeing again. In terms of we can actually talk about some stuff here, and that will make up for a whole power rankings video. I'll put the adjusted power rankings of like how much differential people had and jumped up and all that, and plus it'll be a fun discussion for all of us to kind of put our opinions in that way. So
yeah, me and Ben are gonna make the French Revolution look like a happy accident until you put the Giants in the last row.
I think me and Trathan are going to make it our ultimate goal to get tiers out of this conversation. Tiers are not how we do this.
I don't use tiers as in like.
You literally showed last week the tier list.
Because that's how I readjust them. That's how I like adjust them and show my order.
I don't use tiers. I just use tiers to readjust them.
I can't readjust this. You know how hard it is like to move these around?
And then uses that as a basis for saying, well, they haven't done anything enough to jump to this next tier.
Yeah.
Because there's gaps.
I don't use tiers.
Think of it like a scale of 1 to 100. Each team had like a score, like a score each week where they add a couple points or lose a couple points. And I use the tier list to
so that's why.
So like a let me think, like a power rankings.
Is that why you
like a hello?
Because their score out of 100 is 18.
Well, let me get this straight. So you said 1 out of 100. It's almost like that's 1 out of 32.
I don't literally do. I hate y'all so fucking much. Y'all awful. Y'all fucking awful. No. Okay. Dawson, anger meter. Calm. We're in the calm zone. You already broke me today. Already broke myself today with this fantasy video we just recorded. Honestly, you know what? I'm putting the fantasy video on the fucking Saturday with the other shit video we made. It's gonna be a shit video fiesta for Saturday. Of just showing
Saturday. That's what we should start doing.
Saturday shit.
All the videos. Yeah, Saturday shits.
Or no, Friday or whatever. I'm gonna put these.
Shithole Saturday.
Shithole Saturday. All of our bloopers, all of our shit takes. I use tier lists just for everybody at home who can understand the
There it is. I want everyone to record a clip of that and send it to Dawson. And he says, "Oh, I don't use tiers. I use tier list."
I use the tier list maker to help me visualize changes and gaps because obviously. And do what now, Ben?
See, to use it in your defense.
I used it for a visual representation. This is my visual representation of. Okay, hold up. We're gonna clear up one thing right now. We're not
going back to the tier list.
No, we're not.
We're not doing this.
We're not going to that. I don't know what y'all can see, what y'all can't. So I'm gonna share my screen once again for this. So this is the thing I use to showcase, right? This is where I make it, right? I guess I could just go and do all this and like readjust it that way and bring this over here. I guess I could do that, but this isn't.
That is how you should do it.
But isn't this like a fucking tier list already? Sorry, by the way, the audience. This is what I was referring to.
No, it's not.
No.
What do you mean? This is basically just like tier lists are basically just ranking stuff anyway. I just use it to visualize gaps.
I don't use a tier. I don't use a tier list, guys. But power ranking videos are basically tier list. That's what I'm hearing right now.
Okay, so you're telling me like the top, there's no gap between. Okay, you're telling me the gap between the Seahawks and Jaguars, between Dolphins. Okay, that's a bad example because you disagree with the Dolphins being that low. So the fucking what's the team that we can all agree with? The fucking Lions, sure. Roughly, you think that's actually also a bad example. What's a good example of a tier list break here? Fuck y'all.
I think a good example is this is the NFL and anybody can be anybody any week. You're just judging who has looked the best throughout the season.
Correct. Yeah.
Right now, your power rankings does not resemble that. Now, I'm not saying that's standings. I'm saying it. You're judging it. Jesus Christ. You're judging it based on who has looked the best out the season. And I'm telling you right now, hell would freeze over before the Giants deserve to be at 18.
You know, I want us to clip all this, and the Giants end up going on a big winning streak. I want to clip this, and I want to come back, and everybody's all still trashing the Giants after they have like a
okay.
5
That would be
streak.
perfectly fine if they go on a winning streak. Then they deserve to be at 18. But currently,
don't get more than 7 wins this year.
You don't think they'll go 7 and 10?
yeah, like
Or 8
look,
11, 8 9.
They won't get more than 7. 7 will be a wash. But 8. You're looking for 8 because I said more than 7.
Okay.
If they go on a big win streak, yes, they deserve to be 18 or higher. But like a power ranking is who has looked the best so far throughout the season, not standings. It's different than standings because a team can look bad and still be higher in the standings, or a team can look good and be lower in the standings. For instance, the Vikings. But the Giants do not deserve to be 18.
You know what, Ben?
Oh, he's looking at the schedule now. He's worried. He's looking. He's considering before he makes
No.
that choice.
No, I'm
Lost
about
to
to
the
double
Cowboys.
down. So they have
Lost
to
to
lose.
the Jets.
They have to not win 6 of their remaining games.
So they have to lose 4 games.
Eagles.
They can lose 4 games.
Saints, Cowboys, Jets.
7 would be a wash where nobody gets it.
I'm debating whether I was going to put a bet on the line.
Looking for 8 wins. I'm looking for 6 or less.
7's wash, so neither one of us would.
7 is a wash. Nobody gets it. Or we both get it.
Trathan gets it. If they get 7, Trathan gets it.
That's exactly what you think.
Now I'm rooting for 7.
Hey, if they get 7, Dawson pays for my liquor this week.
We don't know that ahead of time. Fuck you. I will do a search. I'll figure out a bet that if the Giants go below 7-10, I will do something. I don't know what I'll do, but I will if they go below 7-10, I will do something 100% because they are going to be 8-9, I think.
Jump off a bridge?
Well, ideally not die, Trey.
Let's see it die.
You're going to have to dress up as the clown and wear a dunce hat if you're not going to do the ice bucket.
Well, man,
I like it.
Again,
I like
guess,
it.
But...
Ben, that is a phenomenal idea.
So dress up as
Boys,
a clown.
I think we're getting a little bit off topic. Let's get back to the power rankings.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Well, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything else.
Oh no, I agree. Except for the Giants and the Dolphins are my biggest disagreement.
Ben, what's your comment on Dolphins?
I don't mind it that much because I am the one who said that. Their record versus teams who have an over 500 record versus teams who have a lower than 500 record is very similar to that Giants team as last year. However, they're definitely better than that Giants team from last year. But I don't know that I would see them beating any of the teams ranked ahead of them outside of possibly the Jags. And that's it.
I'd agree with that.
I would not see them doing it today. I think I could see them beating all the teams behind them today. So I like that spot.
No.
And so, Trey, ideally, where would you put the Dolphins at this point?
7.
Okay. Oh, so you disagree about 1 point.
You're arguing over 1 spot.
No. I'm just saying that, like, the Dolphins, like, as you know, like, right now, that's the team that I think is, with the Bengals looking still fuzzy. I'm not getting paid. I'm just saying, dropping them 3 for a close win. It's not the placement it was the dropping them 3 for a close loss against the best team.
But look what the Ravens did. Look what
I think this game showed a lot about the Dolphins, unfortunately.
And like I said, I think the reason why I'm guessing the Jaguars is who you put in 8 spot, right, Jathan? I think the Jaguars prove they can beat a good team.
No, I'd put the Texans in the 8 spot.
Yeah, I like that.
See, there we go.
8 spot? Are y'all serious or y'all trolling me? You're gaslighting me.
No.
Gaslighting's not real, Dawson. Shut up.
I would probably put if it was my choice, I would probably put the Texans at 17 or 18.
I think honestly the Texans would be more accurate at 8 than they would at 27. It would be closer to the real.
I disagree with that, definitely.
I think that's 2 extremes.
So you would.
They need to sit right in the middle.
Extreme is the way to go.
Well, now I'm just trying to logic this out. Okay, so would you put the Texans above the Steelers?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm guessing you're gonna say yes to the Jets too, because that's a debatable one.
No, I would not put them above the Jets.
No, I would not put them above anyone in the top 16.
Okay.
That's exactly what I would say.
I might
honestly, yes, I would agree with that. Put the Rams at 17, Texans at 18, and put the Giants back at 27.
So you really think okay. All right, and Giants. Okay, well, so you think the Giants are better than 28 through 32, right? Like those teams?
Maybe.
I don't think it goes by who's better than who. I think it's the NFL and they can beat. I think it's the level of play.
Okay, fine. Okay, sure. But you,
saw that Denver versus Chicago game. Like that's
yeah.
like
That's about as
See,
piss poor as it gets.
see, I think the Giants
they
are
need to
easily
bring
above
their
all
fans
of
here.
the.
Honestly, that team is awful. I don't care about their record. They are terrible.
Which team?
The Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah,
They
I
are
agree.
awful.
That's fair. See, okay, in terms okay, if I'm trying to bring down to like understanding y'all's level, because like at this point I get it. The Giants should be a little bit lower. I get that point at this point. Rams, you can definitely tell me. Packers, I'd probably debate with you a little bit because they haven't looked good in a while. But I mean, again, the Giants haven't looked good. You're right. But the teams below them, I could easily see Rams, Falcons, Saints all being argued for above the Giants. But like, I'm having a hard time understanding.
They could be in the fourth column, honestly.
But like, y'all really gonna rate the Giants below the Titans through Cardinals? Texans, I'll give you Texans, sure. Texans, I'll give you that. I'll also Texans, sure. But you really put them over every other Commanders included?
I mean,
You
I
would
would put them below almost every single team. Yeah.
like
I wouldn't go that far. I think
Out of probably the
honestly,
bottom four. And
I
I think Minshew Mania probably beats them.
I wouldn't disagree. I would put the Colts above them. Honestly, I'd drop the Commanders back too. I would have probably the Colts at 24 and the Giants at 25. Push all the teams back and then move the Texans to 18 and then swap the Steelers and the Rams.
Yeah. And then you have the fiasco of the Chargers on where to put them, because now if you wanted an actual gap between teams, I think that you could actually talk about like Chargers being at the bottom of these 16, and honestly, the gap is growing more and more narrow between them and 17. Like it's not even much of a gap
I'd
at
agree.
this point.
I'd agree with that. I think the gap at this point is closed off between 12 and 15. I would originally have said top 12 or so would probably have a gap with the Vikings right in that kind of weird area. But at this point, I think the Vikings are closing, Browns are closing, Buccaneers have made it more competitive for the outside spot. Jets, I honestly think 15 and 16 have a bigger gap than 16 and 17. But Buccaneers, I'm kind of down on too. So, okay, I kind of see the points here. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the Giants that far below. I think if I'm kind of trying to be reasonable and find a middle ground, I think I'd much more agree with like a 22 spot or 23 spot, maybe 23. But like, cause I can't see the Packers or Patriots being above them. Definitely, I'll be honest with you.
One, take it or leave it.
20. I'll take 20. What do we say? 21.
32.
Take
it or leave it.
Okay.
Take it or leave it.
And what was the other team? Then we have one other team. Oh, the Patriots. Yeah, okay. Out of curiosity, Patriots. What are y'all's opinions? Because those shoes opinions on that. But what's y'all's opinions of the Patriots?
They're not good. They are probably.
I don't think they're good, but I don't think they're terrible. I think 23 would.
Right area. Yeah, I was about to say maybe 3 spots lower than they are.
Okay.
They're pretty close to home.
Okay. That's fair. Because I feel like Shoe hates all
those
of them too
teams are
much.
Same middle of the road garbage that you
And
see out of about 10 teams every year.
and the last topic I'll ask for y'all is the Panthers. Because they are 0-6 at this point now. I think beside the Cardinals, they have.
O line is awful. It's awful. They are so bad. That defense is so bad. It's riddled with injuries.
Is it time to drop the Panthers to 32, basically, or that conversation of the now last official?
I
power
definitely
rankings?
think
They
so.
haven't won a game.
Well, again, I don't do by
The only
standings.
bright spot is Bryce Young in his accuracy. He actually has the most accurate arm so far as throwing accurate passes to his targets in the NFL. He's only missed on 1 attempt through 97.
Okay. Yeah, I debated on the Panthers actually going down in the conversation into the third. I probably wouldn't put them below the Cardinals still, even with the.
Those throws were too open receivers.
I'd put them below the Cardinals.
I get it. They don't have a win yet, but they've
Not
also.
disagreed.
I get it. I get the
disagree.
argument. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
If they were to lose this week, I would not be opposed to them going down.
That's
By the
valid.
way.
And actually, another interesting conversation, because we haven't talked about the top of the chain too much. We didn't talk about the top 5 much at all, but I think it's a solid top 5. I think
There's not much to talk.
But honestly, is anybody surprised that the Ravens are at 4 at this point? I kind of just blinked and realized
It's not where I'd have pegged. It's not where I'd have put them.
Really?
Go. No. I'm talking about like if we went back to our preseason standings, I wouldn't have said, yeah, week 7, week 8, Ravens are top 4. It's not something I would have said.
No, it's valid. I do think.
No, I mean, I wouldn't have expected it, but about 3 weeks ago, I think I was telling Dawson, I know I told my friend Jack this, that the AFC pick was probably the Ravens. They look good. They look good. That's why I picked them last week. They had a gotcha line, and everything was just set up. That was a trap for bettors going on Detroit.
No, that was a good pick. Yeah, it feels like I blinked, and all of a sudden the Ravens are top 5 team, and it's respectively so. They should be a top 5 team, but like it just kind of threw me off when I realized they're
Now
number
they're
4.
the top suitor for Derrick Henry, and if they get him,
Will they use him though?
yes.
Will they?
Have you thought about a read option?
I just don't want the Titans to fall apart. We're losing all of our people that I love. Kevin Byard gone, AJ Brown gone, Derrick Henry probably leaving. Why can't we get Tannehill gone? Or why can't we get one of the several ass receivers we have gone? Why do we got to get rid of our best daggum players for absolute jack crap?
See, I thought about this, and as much as I would love to see Burks gone, or even better, that trade never happened, and we never have to see Burks on our field, and we have HAB. It's either Burks or Racy McMath. So
Racy McMath.
I guess I'm going to take the lesser of two evils and take Burks and deal with it. Unfortunately, until we get someone better.
I'll see what trade Will Levis.
To kind of conclude this video off, that way we can
How about we cut Malik Willis?
Yeah, it's valid.
We can't trade him.
Wasted a 3rd round pick on him. Could have got a better lineman.
John Robinson, everybody thought he was a G, and then he shredded the team within a season.
Just to finish off the thoughts here, you know what we'll do, since we still have this other surprise coming up this weekend. Ben. Well, okay, we'll
kind of hinted at it all.
Yeah, we'll work it out with Ben, but since we are getting to the point of the power rankings maybe being a little bit too dissuaded, and you know what, I'm not going to disagree. Maybe I've stepped firm to my logic, and even I think the logic has now gotten me in trouble, and I think I get it. I'm now understanding better the points. I don't know if I'm necessarily go as extreme as some of the points we've made. I don't know if like the Texans, for example, are 17 for me, but I get 27 is quite aggressively down. Giants are maybe a little. I think you're being a little aggressive with that, but I get it. They shouldn't be in 17, 18 at this point. And so we'll readjust and we'll do a restructuring video where basically instead of power rankings, we'll do our ranking videos together, and we'll go from there and we'll readjust it. I think it's going to be a solid point to pick up for the second half of the season pretty much, and it'll be entertaining.
Sounds good.
But that's kind of the final thoughts there. Otherwise, I think a lot of the teams still kind of standing strong. 49ers, I think, are also very interesting. Obviously, after the performance, I did not think they were a top team, but I did have a gap between them and the second.
No team that has ever lost to Kirk Cousins has ever made the Super Bowl.
I saw that.
Did not know that.
Yep.
Rip to 49ers betters.
Well, they are getting. Does make me worried for their longevity. I do think they're a really good team, but honestly, if they're already struggling halfway through the season, are they really going to be ready for the playoffs? That's kind of how it goes. But we'll conclude this video here. Thank you guys for watching, and a less intensive one. I didn't get yelled at as much. We just put me on the hot seat and kind of trashed me a little bit. But you know what? We kept our composure. But thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for other videos. StraightA Dawson.